I spent over 2 decades watching people do everything right and still lose the one thing they were most desperate to keep. Not their money, not their homes, their strength, the simple ability to stand up from a chair without holding on, to open a jar, to carry their own groceries. And for most of those years, I told them the same thing every textbook told me. Eat your protein, chicken, eggs, yogurt, a little powder in your shake. You'll be fine. Then I met Sandra, and Sandra made me realize I had been giving people half the answer while calling it the whole truth. Stay with me for the next few minutes, because what I'm about to share completely changed how I understand the aging body, and it's going to change how you look at the grocery store forever. Welcome to Optivara Life, the channel where we cut through the noise and talk about the things that actually matter, for how you age, how you feel, and how long you stay independent. I'm glad you're here. If this is your first time, please take a second and subscribe, because we cover this kind of research regularly, and you don't want to miss it. Now back to Sandra. She was 67 years old, a retired postal worker from Virginia. For 30 years, that woman carried heavy mail bags through rain, through heat, up hills, down hills. She used to laugh and say she was strong as an ox. By the time I sat across from her, she couldn't twist the cap off a water bottle, not a stuck cap, just a normal cap. She was eating protein at every meal, chicken, eggs, Greek yogurt. She was doing everything she'd been told to do, and she was still wasting away. Her doctor told her it was just aging, just her thyroid, just the way things go. But here is what nobody had thought to test, and it's what changed everything for Sandra and for my work. After the age of 75, the body can lose close to 35% of its ability to absorb protein from common food sources. You can eat the exact same chicken breast you ate at 45, and your muscles may only receive a fraction of what they used to. That is why so many older adults keep losing strength even when they're eating well. It is not a failure of effort, it is a failure of absorption. And nobody ever explained this, partly because there is no money in explaining it. What I found, after years of looking at the research and at the communities around the world where older people age remarkably well, is that a small group of seeds, some of them ancient, most of them costing less than $1 per serving, deliver muscle-building nutrients to the aging body in a way that expensive protein supplements genuinely cannot match. Not because these seeds contain more protein, because the aging gut absorbs them differently. The communities in Okinawa, in the high Andes, in rural parts of Turkey and West Africa. These are the places where elders keep their grip strength and their walking speed and their balance for decades longer than the average Westerner. And these seeds show up in their diets consistently. Today I'm walking you through 6 of them, ranked from gentlest to most powerful, and I'm going to tell you exactly how to prepare each one, because there is one critical preparation mistake that causes your body to flush most of the benefit away before it ever reaches your muscles. Think of your muscles right now like a brick wall that has been slowly losing mortar between the bricks. Protein is the brick. But without the right supporting nutrients, the mortar, those bricks just pile up at the base of the wall and do nothing. These seeds bring both. The first one is something you have almost certainly walked past 100 times and never thought twice about. Sunflower seeds. Not the heavily salted bags at the gas station, raw, unsalted sunflower seeds, which carry roughly 21 grams of protein per 100 grams. That alone puts them alongside many cuts of red meat. But the protein is not actually the most important thing here. The headline is vitamin E. A small handful delivers more than 80% of your daily requirement. Vitamin E is a fat-soluble antioxidant, and what it does for aging muscle is genuinely remarkable. Each muscle cell is like a thin-walled balloon. Over time, oxidative damage pokes holes in that wall, and the muscle slowly loses its function from the inside out. Vitamin E acts as a patch on those holes. Research from Johns Hopkins and several other major institutions has consistently found that older adults with higher vitamin E intake lose muscle at a measurably slower rate than those who run low. The beautiful part is that the protein in sunflower seeds comes packaged alongside the healthy fats your body needs to absorb that vitamin E. The food does its own prep work on top of that. Sunflower seeds carry selenium, magnesium, and phosphorus. Selenium supports your thyroid, which functions like the thermostat for how efficiently your entire body processes protein. Sandra's thyroid was struggling, and this detail mattered far more than it sounds. Magnesium helps with the nighttime leg cramps that pull so many people out of deep sleep. Phosphorus works alongside calcium to keep your bones strong enough to actually anchor your muscle tissue. This is never one nutrient working alone, it is always a team. To eat them, keep it simple. Buy them raw and unsalted. Stir 2 or 3 tablespoons into morning oatmeal or yogurt. If your digestion is sensitive, soak them overnight in plain water for about 8 hours, which softens the seed coat and makes the minerals more available. You can also run them through a cheap coffee grinder and sprinkle the powder over soups or salads. Small habit, genuinely meaningful over time. Seed number 2 has been treasured across Asia and the Middle East for over 5,000 years, and somewhere along the way, the Western world turned it into a decoration on a hamburger bun. Sesame seeds. They carry around 18 grams of protein per 100 grams. But the protein is not the story here either. The story is what sesame does for the structure that holds your muscle in place. Because muscle does not float in empty space. It attaches to bone. If the bone weakens, the muscle has nothing solid to pull against, and strength collapses from both ends simultaneously. Sesame is extraordinarily rich in calcium. A large study that followed thousands of adults between the ages of 70 and 90 found that those who ate sesame regularly had bone density measurements you would normally expect in someone 15 years younger. Think about what that means practically. That's the difference between fearing an icy sidewalk and not fearing it. Sesame also contains a family of unique antioxidant compounds that have been shown in clinical trials to lower the body's inflammation markers by as much as a third. Chronic inflammation is a slow internal fire that burns through muscle tissue day and night without you ever feeling it directly. You feel the result instead: weakness, slow recovery, the sense that you're working harder just to stay the same. Sesame helps turn that fire down. It also delivers B vitamins that convert food into usable energy, copper that builds the collagen connecting muscle to bone, and zinc that drives protein synthesis at the cellular level. The best way to eat sesame, practically speaking, is in a form your body can actually access. Whole seeds often pass straight through undigested. Reach for tahini, which is simply ground sesame paste. 2 tablespoons spread on whole grain toast, stirred into a smoothie, or whisked with lemon juice and garlic into a salad dressing. One more thing, black sesame seeds carry even higher antioxidant levels than the pale ones, worth keeping both. Seed number 3 is one I think is criminally underappreciated, a genuine powerhouse that most people have stared at in the store and put right back. Pumpkin seeds, sometimes called pepitas, the flat green seeds. They deliver around 30 grams of protein per 100 grams, which is already impressive. But what truly sets them apart for anyone past 75 is their zinc content, and I want you to understand why zinc is so critical, because almost nobody talks about this. Zinc is one of the master keys for building new muscle tissue. Without enough of it, your body cannot assemble new muscle cells regardless of how much protein you're eating. And zinc deficiency is genuinely common in older adults. Some estimates put it at close to half of the population over 70 running low. A handful of pumpkin seeds covers around a fifth of your daily requirement. Researchers tracking seniors who corrected their zinc shortfall through food, not supplements, through food, saw measurable gains in grip strength and walking speed within about 12 weeks. One season, picture your body as a construction site. Protein is the lumber arriving at the curb. Zinc is the crew that actually carries it inside and builds the wall. Without the crew, the lumber just sits there deteriorating. Pumpkin seeds also provide close to 40% of your daily magnesium in a single serving, and magnesium shortage ties directly to muscle cramping, weakness, and accelerated muscle loss. They carry tryptophan as well, the precursor to the calming compounds that help you sleep deeply. And deep sleep is when your muscles actually do their repair work. So this one seed feeds your muscle during the day, supports your recovery at night, and fills a mineral gap that most older adults don't even know they have. Eat them raw or toast them at low heat until just golden. Sprinkle them on soup, fold them into a homemade trail mix, or blend them into a smoothie. Seed number 4 is one of the oldest cultivated crops in human history, and for anyone dealing with inflammation, it has a kind of quiet genius to it. Flax seeds. About 18 grams of protein per 100 grams, but that's not the reason they're on this list. Flax is the single richest plant source on Earth of a particular omega-3 fatty acid, and omega-3 is genuinely one of the best anti-inflammatory tools we have access to through food. Remember that slow internal fire we talked about with sesame? Omega-3 is one of the most effective ways to extinguish it. But here's something most people don't know. Omega-3 doesn't just reduce inflammation. Research from major medical centers has shown that it makes your body more efficient at using dietary protein to actually build muscle. It amplifies the effect of everything else you're eating. A large analysis, tracking tens of thousands of older adults, found that higher intake of this omega-3 was associated with meaningfully lower rates of death from all causes in people over 70. That is not a minor finding. There is one hard rule with flax seeds, and you absolutely cannot skip it. You must grind them before eating. Whole flax seeds pass straight through your digestive system completely intact. You absorb almost nothing. It's like swallowing a sealed envelope and expecting to read the letter inside. Buy a small coffee grinder and grind only what you'll use that day. Stir 2 tablespoons into oatmeal, yogurt, or a smoothie immediately after grinding. Do not prepare a big batch in advance, because the oils in freshly ground flax begin to oxidize within minutes of hitting the air. Fresh ground, every time. That is the entire preparation secret, and it is not negotiable. Seed number 5 has a history that sounds almost like mythology, but the physiology behind it is real and well documented. Chia seeds fueled ancient long-distance runners who reportedly covered extraordinary distances on nothing but these seeds and water. They carry about 17 grams of protein per 100 grams. But what makes them extraordinary for the aging body has less to do with protein quantity and more to do with how they function inside the gut. When chia meets liquid, it absorbs up to 12 times its own weight in water and forms a soft gel. That gel slows digestion, which means nutrients enter your bloodstream steadily over several hours instead of in one spike. It also keeps your muscle tissue hydrated at a deeper level, and hydrated muscle is simply stronger than dry muscle. There's no way around that. Here is what makes chia genuinely remarkable. It is one of the few plant foods on Earth that contains all 9 essential amino acids, the ones your body cannot manufacture on its own and must get entirely from what you eat. It is a complete protein The same structural quality you expect from animal sources, in a seed that costs pennies per serving. It also carries more calcium per serving than milk, more iron than spinach, and a meaningful dose of the same anti-inflammatory omega-3 found in flax. A study following seniors who ate chia daily for 6 months documented measurable improvements in physical endurance alongside lower inflammation markers. Preparing it is genuinely effortless. Stir 3 tablespoons into a cup of milk, almond milk or water, refrigerate overnight, and by morning you have a pudding. Add cinnamon and a few berries. Unlike flax, you do not need to grind chia at all. Its tiny size allows the body to access the nutrients directly. And now we come to seed number 6, the one I've been building toward, the one I'd ask you to remember above all the others if you only retain one thing from today: hemp seeds. In my honest view, this is the closest that nature has ever come to designing a perfect protein specifically for the aging body. Hemp delivers about 31 grams of highly digestible protein per 100 grams. But the number is not what matters most. What matters is the quality and the accessibility of that protein. Hemp contains all 9 essential amino acids in proportions that almost perfectly mirror what human muscle tissue actually needs to repair and rebuild itself. The protein in hemp is made up of 2 unusually gentle compounds that your gut can process with minimal effort. And research suggests that well over 90% of hemp protein actually reaches your bloodstream. Compare that to the far lower fraction your aging digestive system extracts from a chicken breast or a pork chop. Think back to Sandra. She was eating protein at every single meal. The problem was never quantity. The problem was that her aging gut could no longer unlock the protein she was consuming. Hemp is a protein that comes, in a sense, pre-unlocked. When she finally added it to her diet, along with a few of the other seeds on this list, her grip began to return. Within a few months she opened a water bottle on her own and cried while she did it. That story never stops meaning something to me. Hemp also provides an ideal balance of omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids that quiet systemic inflammation, a rare compound that supports joint health, cardiovascular function, and skin integrity, and a full mineral lineup including magnesium, phosphorus, potassium, zinc, and iron. Nearly everything the other seeds contribute piece by piece, hemp brings together in one place. And preparation could not be simpler. You eat hemp seeds exactly as they come, straight from the bag. They have a soft, mild, slightly nutty flavor that blends into anything without changing the taste. Sprinkle 3 tablespoons over yogurt, a salad, oatmeal, or blend them into a smoothie. Store the bag in the refrigerator after opening to protect the oils. That is it. Here is how I would bring all 6 together in a way that won't overwhelm you. Sunflower seeds protect your muscle cells from oxidative damage. Sesame anchors your muscle to stronger bone. Pumpkin seeds supply the zinc crew that actually does the building work. Flax, ground fresh daily, reduces the chronic inflammation that burns through muscle quietly. Chia provides complete protein and deep hydration that sustains your energy across the full day. And hemp delivers nearly everything your aging muscle tissue needs in a form it can finally use. The mistake most people make when they hear a list like this is to try to implement all of it at once. That is exactly the kind of thing that feels urgent for 3 days and then collapses entirely by Friday. Please don't do that. This week, choose one. I'd suggest hemp or chia as a starting point. Add 3 tablespoons to something you already eat every morning. That is your only job this week. Next week, add a second seed in the evening. The week after, a third. Within a month, without ever feeling overwhelmed, you'll have built 4 or 5 of these into your daily routine, and your body will already be working differently. Keep your seeds raw and unsalted. Keep them refrigerated once opened. And remember the one rule that cannot be skipped. Flax seeds must always be ground fresh, never stored after grinding. These are not miracle cures, and they are not going to rebuild your strength overnight. But muscle responds to consistency. Many people notice steadier energy within the first few weeks. The changes the research actually describes: better grip, more stable balance, less effort when rising from a chair. These tend to show up across 2 to 3 months of consistent use. Not dramatic, but real. The kind of real that quietly gives you your independence back without you having to announce it to anyone. I think about why most doctors, trainers, and certainly no supplement company ever explained any of this. The answer is uncomfortable but straightforward. There is no profit in a $1 bag of seeds. Nobody holds a patent on pumpkin seeds. There is no marketing budget behind flax. The elders in Okinawa and the Andes and rural West Africa knew this not because someone sold it to them, but because generations of lived experience handed it down. You deserve to know it too. That's it for today on Optivara Life. If this shifted something in how you think about the seeds sitting in your pantry right now, share this with one person who needs it. You almost certainly know someone who is losing strength quietly and blaming themselves for it, the way Sandra did. You won't be selling them anything. You might be handing them something they've been missing for years. Drop a comment below and tell me. How old are you, and which seed are you starting with this week? I read every single comment, and I answer as many as I possibly can. Please subscribe if you haven't already, because we cover this kind of research regularly, and I would genuinely love to have you here for the next one. Take care of yourself. Your body is more capable of rebuilding than anyone ever told you. See you next time.